Hello, welcome to the Reframing Mindset podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, welcome back to Reframing Mindset podcast. My name is Constance Brooks. This episode I want to talk about, you know, um, I guess reaping the fruits from the second year of from the backyard, and got me excited. And one of the things that I did, not try to see if I was actually approaching it a smart way was so like I have a lot of these fruits, and I said, okay, I'll just basically just to save time, I'm just gonna take my just spend the time just take out cut all the fruits and just basically just um cut them up and just basically put them to freeze so that I don't have to actually go through the process to do that once and then do it over. And I thought it was a great idea. What I realized was that the after a while, these were fruits, or it was a sugar cane, so it was not or items that last long. After a while, they kind of lose their freshness the longer that you keep them. So me cutting a lot of those stuff in the longer term was a bad it was a bad idea. But you have to actually go through these things. You don't become a pro overnight. You have to actually go through the experiences to learn. And what I've learned from these experiences was just basically um I approached it wrong. So what I did was I cut like a lot of them. I cut all of the ones that were ripe and just um basically store them, and then but because it's a lot over time, I'll get a few fresh ones, but over time they're getting bad by the day. But what I've learned from it is that it's not really a bad idea, but what I would actually do now is basically do it with less amount. So basically I would just basically say, okay, I would like have enough, cut like enough for a week instead of doing that for a lot. So I said, okay, let's cut enough for a week so that I could enjoy that for the week, and then by the next weekend, I just cut a few more, and then just enjoy it for the week again. And that's how I would actually implement that. So that's another farming skill or farming thing that I actually learned, that you can implement in your farming stuff, and you can do it that in your grocery buying as well. Learn about how long it takes for a certain grocery fruit item or thing that you usually buy for ingredients. How long it would take for them to actually spoil, and just basically purchase fruits and stuff like that accordingly. And that's the way to actually for you to save money, because what happens is that you don't want to actually spend your money buying a lot of grocery items, and then by the first week, half of those grocery items are not good. You basically spend a lot of money that you basically can't get back on something that will spoil. If you know that, okay, this will be spoiled within a week, you buy less of that amount and just buy enough. You'll be like, okay, this is one of the items that I've purchased on a need to buy basis. When I need to buy it, I need to buy it. But if you have something that lasts longer, like if you have a freezer, it's like, okay, I could buy an ice cream. I have something that can store the ice cream for a long period. Or so ice cream is another example. So what if you're a person that stores a lot of things in your freezer, the part that keeps it very cool, and you said, okay, you want to buy ice cream. You bought the ice cream, but then you come home and you realize that, okay, I have no space to store the ice cream. That is actually a bad investment, because what will happen now, the ice cream will get soft, and then you basically spoil and you basically waste that money. So what you just basically do instead is just um, you could actually buy a smaller box, smaller amount, and just place it in the fridge, or you'd be like, okay, I cannot buy the ice cream this time around, so I will think about buying that. I'll just basically buy it as a dessert once or twice at a ice cream store instead of buying a box. So those are things that you learn through experience. So I learned that okay, I cannot okay, I can't do the smart things. Yeah, I'm saving all the time by just cutting everything and just basically doing that to save time. It's best for me to do it in small increments, and then you can actually reap quality rewards from it without losing its quality. And then what happens is that the sugar cane is a fruit that doesn't the longer it stays, the more and the more it, it gets the more value it gets. So yeah. So that's one of the things that I learned, in the backyard farming, and it was valuable for me. And then now I'm just gonna have more quality reaping of fruits going forward. So by ideally by the fourth year, where I'm just living quality food of the land. So that's what you have to really think about it. Next thing is what I to have high quality soil. I said, one thing when I compared my the place that was raised compared to my place, one thing I realized that a lot of by the time I left university, there's a lot of benefits, a lot of fruits being reaped from the land. When I realized that all the work, the groundwork to make that land fertile. That's something that you learn in farming to make that land fertile so that you can actually reap those fruits. One of the things that you can do is like the trash and stuff that you get from taking the fruits, from like cutting the fruits and stuff like that, that can be actually used as manure. That's basically organic, nice organic manure that you just basically spread back on the land that you use to plant. And the nutrients just basically go back, seep into the soil, and just basically um fertile the land. So it just basically more than likely that you will get you reap um fruits faster just by you um planting the seed, reaping the fruits. When you the part of the fruits that you do not use, just place it back into the near the soil to use as manure for future plants. And then the thing about the plant is not the thing about the fruits, the part that did not use with the fruits, it's not trash. It's not something like plastic or stuff where if you actually accumulate it, it will be destructive to the land. The thing about the fruit trash is just basically the nutrients will just basically just seep back into the soil. That's all. That's all. And but because you're doing that after a while, boom, the land will just become fertile. And then after a few years of doing that, you're just basically reaping. You're just basically reaping. You're seeing your land being very fertile. And you're able to actually do a lot of, reap a lot of fruits and stuff for this land. And you'll be like, okay, all of that is just because of the investment into. And the thing about it is that you have the ability to buy fertilizer, but this is basically a free fertilizer. It's like you open a business, and when you get the profit, you just reinvest the profit back into the business, and then you use um, and then when the business do better, you reap bigger profit, and then you can basically reinvest more. And so it's the similar thing with this and the farming. You reinvest, you reinvest the part that you don't use back into the soil to make it more fertile so that you have more use of the more food the next year to actually reap from. Yeah, so that's something that I learned from farming that you can actually implement in your life to actually make it better, make it better, so you can reap better rewards. better rewards from your farming journey. Yes, that's basically it for this episode. Thank you for listening and look forward for the next episode. Hmm.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.